Well, good morning. It's Friday, and we're seeing the end of another work week. I hope you're all doing well. And we're going to continue on talking about how to trust God better. And I want to read a verse of scripture for you out of the Amplified Bible. And this is Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Pretty well-known verses. But let's just read them and then we'll think about them a little bit. So it says, lean on, trust in, and be confident in the Lord with all your heart and mind. And do not rely on your own insight or understanding. In all your ways, know, recognize, and acknowledge Him, and He will direct and make straight and plain your paths. Boy, pretty good formula right here in this verse about learning how to trust God better. You know, one of the first things in the Amplified it says is lean on. So I get this mental image of kind of leaning on, you know, a staff, you know, a walking stick or whatever. I can imagine myself going up a mountain. It's been many, many years ago now, but I had the privilege of making it all the way up to the top of Mount Shasta up there in Northern California. It's like 14,000 and just under 200 feet. And I tell you what, and it wasn't a technical climb. We didn't have to use ropes and stuff like that. But we had what they call crampons on our boots and an ice axe in our hand. And there were times in which I wish I had some poles to lean on, because there were sections of that mountain that were so steep. They were just really, really hard. And to have something to kind of jam in and push myself up and lean on would have helped in those situations. And you know, that's our walk with the Lord. Like, you know, I said last time, it's a generally upward climb. And as we are walking with God and He's leading us ever and ever upward, we need to, you know, sometimes we think, I guess, that, you know, once we've been a child of God for many years, that we shouldn't have to trust in Him as much because we're confident and we don't need that trust issue. No, it's the opposite. The more, you know, every year that goes by, the older we get in our lives, we need to lean on the Lord even more, completely put our faith and our trust in Him, and let Him bring the things that He wants to bring to our life so that we can, you know, do the things that He wants us to do. So we need to lean in on Him. We need to truly trust Him and be confident in that trust, knowing that He is going to respond correctly. And so that's when he talks about in this verse, the second part of it, he said, do not rely on your own insight or understanding. This is perhaps the hardest times for us to trust in the Lord, is when we think we've got a better idea. When we think that we have a good, firm handle on, you know, what should be happening in our lives. And it's obvious to us, oh yeah, well, of course we need to do that. Well, you know what? Sometimes God has a different idea. He has a different way of getting us to a place that we may think we're going to go. Or He's got an entirely different destination for us that we never even dreamed of, that turns out even better than what we could have imagined. So if we can't lean on and trust in God while we're leaning on and trusting in our own understanding, our own insight, because that shows so short-sighted. We simply do not have the perspective of God has from eternity, of seeing our lives laid out in its entirety and knowing what needs to happen each step of the way. So then he says, then, in all your ways, know, recognize, and acknowledge Him. So that's how we stop leaning on our own understanding. And we don't even take one foot in front of the other in our daily walk with the Lord without Him in our minds. A daily acknowledgement, God, you are with me. A daily recognition, God, you are protecting me. And a constant knowledge that He is in us and will ever be a part of us. And as long as our minds are on him, we become one with him, and we become bolder and more confident that he's going to direct our paths. If we do those things, then you know what? The scripture says he'll make straight and plain your paths. You know what that tells me? Things get a little easier. They just simply get a little easier. When I trust in God, when I lean on him, when I'm not relying on my own intellect, my own concepts, my own ideas, insights of what should be happening in my life, when I live my life with the knowledge and the recognition of God in me and working in and through me, and I acknowledge that relationship, and I'm in a constant state of gratefulness and thankfulness for what he does do to me, then the path gets a little straighter. It gets easier because I don't have to trust in me. All I have to do is just keep trusting in the Lord. He can make things work out in ways that you never dreamed of. And even in the times when we think, Lord, this did not work out, this is not working out, in those times of hardship and struggle, there are even deeper lessons to learn about how that God is telling us, just keep trusting in me. Because 9 times out of 10, our vision of what is not going right is too short-sighted. And God's vision of what needs to happen will get us through those things eventually. I hope some of this has made some sense to you. I don't know how long we're going to keep on talking about how to trust God better, but it seems, this subject just keeps growing and growing and growing in my heart and my mind, so I want to share the things with you. So God bless you. We'll see you next time. Thanks.